Welcome everyone to this edition of From Around the World Fridays, and today we're starting the Cuba series. I recently went to Cuba, and I'm here to share a little bit about the trip, the things we did, some thoughts I had from the trip, and tips to help you if you want to go to Cuba, help you get there and make it a fun experience. This was one of the most amazing experiences of my life, to be honest with you. So I really, hope and encourage everyone to go and experience it for themselves. So you can see here we had a plane. I was flying into Miami, beautiful sight there, and then flying to Cuba. Pretty cool to see Havana on the screen. And then walked around the city for the first little bit. We ended up doing a walking tour that first night we were there, and beautiful. Got to explore Old Havana, learn a lot about the history, some of the key figures in the history, not just during the Revolution, but well before then. Relationship with the U.S., that sort of thing. And yeah, it was really fun. Beautiful down there. I mean, it was in the 80s. It was humid. It was warm, and it was I was really glad to be in the warmth there. Then of course you get to see the classic cars there, which was awesome. You'll see some more classic cars here in a bit. But yeah, a lot of little squares around Old Havana there. And yeah, one of the interesting facts I learned was that um, at one point prior to the Civil War in the U.S., Cuba was actually there. Uh, Politicians in Washington were trying to add Cuba in as, or I guess I should say, politicians in the South were trying to add Cuba in as another state in order to keep the balance of states for or against slavery in favor of slavery, which is pretty interesting. So that didn't end up working out, obviously, but kind of an interesting little factoid there.
That we're going to see today, the first that was built. Or you might say it wasn't either the most important one, but it's the first that we're going to see today. Where is, can you guess?
Like I said, we learned a lot about the history of Cuba. Learned about some of the key figures. Jose Marti is probably the most well known. Um, a big hero of Cuba, kind of helped bring Cuba together. For a lot of years, Cuba's a very long country, and so people were really spread out throughout the country for much of its history, and kind of still are, I guess. Um, but yeah, so they were under Spanish rule, colonized by Spain, and um, tried to win their independence like a lot of other countries in Latin America. And Jose Marti and Cespedes, they helped kind of bring the country together and help them eventually win their independence from Spain. So that was some interesting history there. Like I said, beautiful squares. You could it was just beautiful, and everything's colorful, and you got the old architecture and everything. Um, just a beautiful evening to be walking around, and the sunset was great too. We also got to learn a lot about Hemingway and his time there in Cuba. This house here is, or hotel is where he stayed when he originally was down there in Cuba. A lot of Hemingway stuff around Havana there. So yeah, it was a pretty interesting walk.
Anyways, okay, so we're starting now the last square of the day. We're not going to be able to record.
All right, so then we made our way to the San Isidro here, which used to be, um, I guess, a brothel, a gigolo named Urini. That's where he used to do his business. But anyways, now it's a really good restaurant. We were up on the top floor on the roof, and beautiful view, and just a perfect night to be out and enjoy some good food and some mojitos. So yeah, a lot of fun. And then we actually went to a bar afterwards, which I don't think I have video for, but or no, maybe we didn't go out that night. Anyways, you'll see a bar in a bit.
What's up, everyone? It's a beautiful morning in Havana, Cuba. I'm running here. Stop here. I'm running along I think it's called the Malecon, the big promenade here. This is my view. It's beautiful morning here. It's about 7:45 a.m. And yeah.
Yeah, so every morning I went for a run. Uh, Most of the time it was along, actually, yeah, every day was along the Malecon, which is a street right on the water. It goes for a long distance. I never did the whole thing, but I'd run in either way, depending on the day. Um, and so these pictures are of the first morning I ran. I think it was like 4.5 miles or 5 miles, something like that I ran. Um, and to get down to the Malecon, I had to run like, I don't know, a third of a mile or so. And so you go by some of these statues and monuments on the way there. But just beautiful, beautiful to see. I didn't make the sunrise, but slightly after the sunrise, to see the Havana at that time of day. See the water. Just it was just a day in paradise. um, and yeah, I stopped to take a lot of pictures there as well. But there's monuments all along and statues all along the street there, along the water. So I stopped at various points to look at that. And then you'll see here in a minute, we had a really good breakfast at the hotel. The hotel we stayed at, or the casa that we stayed at, La Posada de Chacon. Amazing. The staff was amazing. The food was amazing. The drinks were amazing. It was a highly recommend. Highly recommend. But the breakfast every morning was just awesome. Just fresh fruit, eggs, ham, cheese. It was perfect. Yeah, so you'll see a picture here in a second. So one of the big highlights of the trip, and something I definitely recommend every tourist to do. It is definitely a touristy thing, but it's a lot of fun. Cruise around in a classic car. So we got to basically spend almost a whole day, cruising around in the classic cars, going to different spots around the city, which you'll see. Um, but yeah, you can see the beautiful cars. They've kept them going for all these years, 70 years plus years later now, and they're still running. So that was pretty exciting to see. Um, I got to go in this red and white one here. Um, but yeah, just beautiful, and it was with the sun beating down on you. It's nice to get that fresh air coming at you, and good way to experience the city for sure. The first stop we made in the classic cars is we went to the Spanish fortress across the water from where we were at. It was meant to guard Havana Bay there, and yeah, you'll see some pictures from that here. And yeah, it's beautiful. You got a good view of Havana as well. So we got a lot of pictures there. So, as you can see, definitely enjoyed the cars and the views. Took way too many pictures of those, but hopefully you enjoyed the pictures. And I'm going to leave this episode with a couple videos of me in the car and then the view of Havana from the fortress. And next week we'll be spending some more time in the car and then going on to what we did that evening, which was a ton of fun too. So stay tuned for that. This is just the beginning of it. It's building up to some very fun things. So stay tuned next week for more of that. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see y'all next time.
Popular now.